There's no charge for joining the nation of Israel. When it's a factory, just run for your life. Get away from it. These covert missionaries, and this is a cancer going on not just in the United States, it's going on here in Israel. You saw the El Cohen case, it's all over the place. And this is a stage 4 cancer. The Dawsons, who look like Hasidim, look like they would be in Meir Sharm or Borough Park. By the time they get into Phoenix, the Dawsons already changed their name to Isaacson, so they kind of are off the map. They're off the radar as Dawsons. Now they're Isaacsons, a very Jewish name. Thankfully, Beinenu, a very important organization, receives a tip on their hotline alerting them that the Dawsons are now the Isaacsons, and they're working at a synagogue run by a man named Michal Aminov, and they're running everything there. This thing, that's what you're hearing about. They're ensconced in what's in the Bukharian community. The Bukharian community is a community part of that really comes from Uzbekistan, which was a former Soviet state. A unique community, an insular community. So they were using that as a complete cover. They're involved in writing ketubot. They got conversions. They're so involved in conversions in Phoenix that in Phoenix, this guy, Aminov, was charging $10,000, $20,000, as much as $50,000 for conversions. For conversions, it was a whole business that Aminov had going on with the now Isaacsons, who are really the Dawsons. Could you imagine that? In fact, they were encouraging the community of Phoenix that, bring in your ketubot, your marriage certificates. We want to check them to make sure that they're kosher. And if not, we'll fix them. And, of course, they were just rendering them not kosher and rewriting them, charging whatever. I want to, by the way, make a point here. I am very grateful to Bukharian leaders, rabbis, who have recently, when I say recently, I'm talking about in the last 100 hours, come out with declarations saying that Michal Aminov from Phoenix, that none of his conversions are valid, that none of his, what he did with slaughtering is valid, none of the circumcision he performed valid, none of this is valid. So I'm, very grateful for that. But they were doing everything there. So now you had people who are Lutherans who ran through the Messianic movement, who are running the whole show, the whole game, slaughtering anything they slaughter. In Jewish law, there's no difference if you eat a pig or if you eat meat that was slaughtered not properly. That was slaughtered by a non-Jew, let alone a missionary. We're not going to even talk about that. Not kosher at all. There's no difference in Jewish law if you eat horse meat or if you eat a chicken that was slaughtered by a non-Jew. It's the same exact thing, identical. People who think there's a difference, you're making a big mistake. Other rabbis in Phoenix were very, very, and I'm putting this mildly, very, very uncomfortable with that whole so-called synagogue that Aminov was running, and certainly wanted to distance themselves. But it really did require this massive explosion of information to be released so that finally, people would stand up and say, okay, what Aminov is doing. And one other thing about this. If someone's charging huge money for conversions or training you for conversions, run away, okay? When a person undergoes conversion, there's not really a charge for that. Now, a Beis Din will ask for, a Jewish court will ask for whatever, $500, $600, $700, if you can afford it, just to defray the cost of running the Beis Din and so on. Very minor amount. But when you start getting people who are mentoring for fantastic amounts of money and offering conversions for $10,000 and so on, run from that kind of stuff. Leave skid marks. That's a very, very bad sign. There's no charge for joining the nation of Israel. So when you hear those crazy numbers running around, so you know it's a factory, and that's what was going on in Phoenix. It's a factory. So stay away from that. That's a huge sign that something smells horribly when they're running around redoing your mezuzahs and ketubot, charging all sorts of ridiculous money. Just run away from that. When it's a factory, just run for your life. Get away from that.